Kenny, did anyone again?
It could be a little
Oh,
heavy,
thank you.
but I'll leave it.
Say mine.
Right, I'm gonna save you. I'll leave it up.
I can see you do. That's not.
You want us to move? Say what?
I can see you do.
You want us to move that one? She said they can see me good, but I appreciate this. Thank you, sir.
I seem squared up now.
Nah, ain't gotta meet nobody to forward.
I'd like to call order the East Chicago Common Council regular meeting for Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Roll call, please.
Second District Councilman Lenny Francisco. Present. Third District Councilman Terrence Hill. Fourth District Councilwoman Stacy Winfield.
Present.
Fifth District Councilman Robert Garcia.
Present.
Sixth District Councilwoman Gilda Orange.
Present.
Councilwoman at Large Deborah Bolaños.
Here.
Councilman at Large Dwayne Rancifer. Councilman at Large Kenneth Monroe. Present. Council President Monica Gonzalez.
Here. For the record, please note that Councilman Hill and Councilman Ransford did give notice that they would not be able to attend today. For regular meeting, the minutes of the council meetings.
Minutes for public hearing and regular meeting 11/9/2022.
So move, Madam President.
Second. Motion made by Councilman Garcia, second by Councilwoman Orange. Lamas, I'm sorry. Any questions on that? Roll call, please.
Francisco. Yes. Winfield.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Orange.
Yes.
Bolaños.
Yes.
Monroe. Yes. Gonzalez.
Yes. Communication from the mayor,
I have none.
communication from department heads,
We have accounts payable warrants. 112222 CC. 112222 LA. 110822 CC. 111122 CC. 111522 CC. And 113022 CC.
so moved. Second. Motion made by Councilwoman Orange, second by Councilman Monroe. Any questions on that? Roll call, please.
Francisco. Yes. Winfield.
Yes.
Garcia.
No.
Orange.
Yes.
Bolaños.
Yes.
Monroe. Yes. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Payroll warrant biweekly 111022.
So move, Madam President.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Garcia, second by Councilman Monroe. Any questions on the matter? Roll call, please.
Francisco. Yes. Winfield.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Orange.
Yes.
Bolaños.
Yes.
Monroe. Yes. Gonzalez.
Yes. Are there any committee reports? Are there any board reports? Ordinances on first reading.
Ordinance 22-0049, sponsored Councilwoman Monica Gonzalez. An ordinance of the Common Council of the City of East Chicago authorizing the transfer of appropriations into different budget categories of the City Clerk Department Fund 0101.
First and second.
Unanimous? Is it a unanimous?
Motion made by Councilwoman Orange, seconded by Councilman Garcia. Are there any questions on the matter? Okay, no questions, then we'll go to roll call.
Franciski.
Yes.
Winfield.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Orange.
Yes.
Bolaños.
Yes.
Monroe.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion suspended, Madam President.
Second.
Motion to suspend the rules by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Monroe. Roll call, please.
Franciski.
Yes.
Winfield.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Orange.
Yeah.
Bolaños.
Yes.
Monroe.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
So moving third and final hearing, Madam President.
Second. Motion made by Councilwoman Garcia to hear it on third and final reading, seconded by Councilwoman Orange. Roll call, please.
Franciski.
Yes.
Winfield.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Orange.
Yes.
Bolaños.
Yes.
Monroe.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Ordinance 22-0050, sponsored Councilman Robert Garcia. An ordinance vacating a public alley pursuant to Indiana Code 36-7-3.
So moving first and second reading, Madam President.
Second.
A motion made by Councilman Garcia to hear ordinance 22-0050 on first and second reading, seconded by Councilman Monroe. And Councilman Garcia.
Yes, I had Mr. Lawrence Grove give me a call, purchase this location. This location is on the corner of Euclid and Broadway, where the gas station used to be. There used to be like a half alley there before. So just to clean up the book, we gotta vacate that alley. So if they want to sell that parcel to somebody, they have to be cleaned up. So that's the location. Well, we need to vacate the alley. It used to be. It's no longer.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Franciski.
Yes.
Winfield.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Orange.
Yeah.
Bolaños.
Yes.
Monroe.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion suspended, rules, Madam President.
Motion to suspend the rules by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilwoman Orange. Roll call, please.
Franciski.
Yes.
Winfield.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Orange.
Yes.
Bolaños.
Yes.
Monroe.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
So move on third and final hearing, Madam President.
Second.
Motion made to hear ordinance 22-0050 on third and final reading. Motion made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Monroe. Roll call, please.
Franciski.
Yes.
Winfield.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Orange.
Yes.
Bolaños.
Yes.
Monroe.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes. Ordinances on second reading.
We have one ordinance, on second reading, ordinance 22-0046, sponsored Councilwoman Monica Gonzalez. Ordinance for flood hazard areas for East Chicago, Indiana.
So move on second and third reading.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Garcia to hear ordinance 220046 on second and third reading, seconded by Councilman Monroe. Roll call please.
Franciski,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gordon,
Yes.
Bolaños,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes. Ordinances on third reading,
We have none.
resolutions,
We have none.
old business. Any new business? Councilman Garcia.
Yeah, I just want to thank all my colleagues that reached out to me and make sure I'm doing okay and gave me rides and stuff like that. I want to reach out to everybody in the audience and my colleagues at the head of things.
Councilwoman Greenfield.
I have two. I want to first announce my third annual Fourth District Christmas Outdoor Decorating Contest. Excited, real excited this year. As the city lights up the city, the Fourth District actually lights up in the city also. So just encouraging everyone to participate. And person that I'm gonna bring up next, I'm sure he's gonna outdo everyone also. But with that saying, I did ask for the chief to come up to the meeting, if he would come up to the podium now. I was just basically want to bring you here because a lot of crime is going on, shootings were going on, and I know you have information that we need, what's going on. I noticed the Christmas season is here, holiday season is here. I stress to people in my district all the time, keep the lights on, and initiation time goes on during this time. I just want you to give some input on what the residents need to look out for, why they don't see flashing lights, and I already know why they don't see squad lights when they come through the neighborhood once they get calls. And I also want to request that a couple of years ago, you all started having meetings in the districts. And I would like to ask, see if you could look into doing that again, because that made so many people, they were able to speak to you, you know, when it's hard to come out and speak to someone, but when you come in groups like that and feel safe in the police station, I was asking, maybe you all could do that together.
No, absolutely. So we are looking into doing those meetings again. The one thing we learned is during the holiday, very difficult to get people to come to these meetings. So when we have a community meeting close to the holidays, we'll be more like, there'll be more of us than actual residents. But after the holidays, that is something we're looking to actually do. As far as the holidays, you're correct. So during the holidays is our peak season for robberies. So we've been fortunate. So we started a new initiative with the businesses this year. I didn't put it out there, but we did start October 1st. So October 1st, I started putting extra officers, which are my detectives, administrators, inside people out at night. So they patrol the harbor and East Chicago business districts. It started October 1st. We're gonna end it probably in January after the holidays. In order to determine the success of it, we just went to a meeting last week under HIDA. HIDA is where we meet with the feds, with all the agencies. We're the only city for October, November to have 0 armed robberies at businesses. So that started because, again, we're actually babysitting the businesses. And there's nobody in particular. It's basically, I have one officer assigned to the harbor, one in EC, that's all they do. They go business to business, they go inside the businesses, they park in the parking lots, they stop with the lights on, they park in the fire lane. They're in busy areas with the lights on, and it's been going on now, pushing about 6 weeks. So that's one thing that we've been doing to avoid any of those robberies, because every year, thankfully, come October, armed robberies are, just horrendous. And not just here in Chicago, all over Lake County. So we've been fortunate. We're the only city so far to have 0 visits to public from October and November. So I'm not going to that one, I wish myself that luck. The guys are actually out there right now, and the business districts doing that. We've also deployed our portable cameras. So we do have cameras throughout the entire city, Portable trailers. So anytime crime spikes, like you said, shots fired, we'll move those portable cameras to those locations or districts. So we have 2 of them. We actually ordered 2 more, and we can actually hook those up to a truck and park those in certain areas. And the success on that one also is Calumet. 49 block Alex, and actually about a homicide, solved the homicide because of that camera system. So that's another tool that we're using right now during the holiday season. We've had it on Guthrie because of the shots fired. We were gonna move it to Alder, but I got the camera up and running at 140th and Polk. So where we had the last year Christmas homicide and shooting this year, right now 4,000 Alder, we actually have a 4-way camera permanently installed. And it's actually right at the intersection facing all 4 ways, and it's up and running. The delay on that was NIPSO. So anytime we do put a camera up, first we have to get permission from NIPSO, we use their poles, and then second we have to get them to power. So that takes time. So that was the newest camera we got up right now. Once we put it up and it's running, it'll nice. So everybody knows that it's up. But it is up and running. We are monitoring it. The meetings, we will start the meetings probably right after the holidays, beginning of the year. We'll start the meetings. We'll try to have them in the PD. It's the most neutral location, safest location to have that in this lobby. But we will start doing those meetings coming next year.
So, real quick, so you're gonna have just one general meeting at the police station, not
Yeah, you know what?
for our district meetings?
Probably is the fairest way of doing it. I've done them district to district. Some districts will have way more people than I'll go to 1 and 2 people. I had one where I did at 6 stands at one time. I had a handful of people show up. But what we have at the police station was more successful. We get more people to show up at the PD than we do at a specific location.
Oh, I'd just like to say also a comment. I know that there was a shooting on the 42nd block of Marion Park. The cameras right on 143rd and right by near an apartment building, and it was amazing. We have a lot of Illinois cars that were parked there. I mean, all over the place, you know, just all over the street, and they parked in like little driveway that they have there. And once that camera was there, it cleared out. It just totally cleared out.
That camera location also helped us catch the shooter, one of our shooters as well. As far as shootings, but that camera location is there for that reason, for those shots fired. We did catch the shooter on that one, but that was because of the trailer camera, but then also our license plate reader system. We were able to get a license plate on the vehicle, and then because of that system, it actually tracks a pattern. So it works with license plate reader systems all over Lake County, including Chicago. So we're into all of theirs. So we developed a pattern on when he leaves or she leaves and enters our city. So we were able to get a time frame when that person was coming back there, actually able to capture shooting something and actually get a weapon out of that vehicle. So it'll be placed in where the shot were fired. So we do get requests for that trailer to go certain places, but since we have 2 at the moment, we're going based on call on, especially shots fired. That's priority. So wherever your shots fired at, any violent crimes, we'll place them in that general location based on the call stats. So we will check the call volume, see the stats, and then that's where we place them at, and that's how we do successful with those cameras. We don't want to place them anywhere. We want to make sure we're getting the best use out of those cameras. And they are solar powered, so they'll be there for quite a while before we can have to bring them back. But as far as our shootings, just for where we're at, let you guys know where we're at as far as shooting investigations. Last year, we had 35 shooting investigations at this exact time. So we're down to 20. So these are actual shooting investigations. So we're actually down 15 of them. And as far as homicides, we're at 13 last year. This year, we're at 10 at this, as of today. Of the 10, 6 are strong. So actually, violent crime as far as shootings and the homicides, this is what we report to the FBI are actually down. Now, as far as the reports of shots fired, you're starting to hear a lot about it now. So if you guys didn't know, the Times, Region News Source, they patrol our city like police officers. So they have the same exact standards we have. The issue that I have sometimes is the miscommunication or misinformation. So they're going based on what the caller is telling dispatch, but then there's not a follow-up. So the caller might say there was 30 rounds fired at this house. And we have, a good example is Main Street. They were saying so many rounds were fired, we had 3 victims, and it was this big old mess. I was actually there. The person was grazed by glass. But if you read what they put out immediately after the scanner, you'd have thought it was a massacre on Main Street. Yes, there were shots fired, yes, we've identified who the person is, of course, the victims are cooperating. There was nothing to do about that, but there was no actual gunshot victim. But if you see it on there, you're right, say there were 3 down. Because that's what somebody put over the phone, called dispatch, went over the radio that way, reporters heard that and immediately put it out. And fact check that at all. I was actually honest. So that's why people are hearing this and they're seeing it on Facebook, but in actuality, that's not what's happening. But they are actually patrolling. I met with both of them. I actually have a good relationship with both of them. But that's how they report based on what they hear over the radio, what's transmitted. You can see the scanner pages on Facebook. They do the same thing. Whatever goes over that radio is what they put out. That doesn't mean that's what actually happened. So my officers know not to say so much over the radio because certain information they go out. So we use computers to say it. And sometimes not to get off the victim's information or location. So there's some information you don't give out, but a lot of that you'll start seeing a lot more. You'll see it on Facebook a lot more, but that's the reason why. The gunfire, were about the same as last year, maybe a little bit less, but I would say about the same. July when that law changed. Everybody gets it. It's celebratory gunfire. Our shot spotters actually pinpointed a lot of these shots fired in people's backyards. They're literally buying guns and just firing rounds. The sad part that we're finding is being able to catch them because the 911 calls are not coming in. If it wasn't for shot spotter actually telling us that these shots are being fired, they wouldn't be reported. So we're actually giving the exact numbers of shots fired incidents, where if it wasn't for that, if we went based on 911 calls, it'd be very low. It'd be very low because very rarely people call 911 on shot fired. I don't know if they're just used to it or don't want to just say anything. But it's important that they call because that's how I determine where to go cameras. I am using shot spotter technology as well, but it's better to get those complaints from people. But because of that new law, I think every traffic stop, we're finding somebody with a gun, a rifle, a shotgun, you name it. Not what we can do. You'll see on when we do our crime reports, we have to adjust it a little bit with gun calls. People are calling in, people walking on the street with a gun. That's like calling somebody who's walking with a cell phone. My officers cannot do anything like that. And we get calls like that daily. I saw another kid walking with a gun. I saw another person walking with a rifle. That's legal.
He's saying it's legal because he had a law change.
Right.
I can carry a gun. Everyone in this room can carry a gun.
So those calls have gone up, but the law doesn't allow us to check on it. It's just like I said, just like saying, oh, that guy's walking with a Samsung phone, he has an iPhone, go check on it. I can't violate their rights. So they have to actually be, unfortunately, in the act of committing a crime, or have to have some type of reasonable suspicion to believe they're about to act on a crime in order to actually check it. But solely for carrying a gun, I can't. So my officers know that they're trained.
Chief, question, is the cameras on Euclid, Euclid tap, are they working? They on 4 corners? Are they working?
They should be, yeah. I could double check that.
Okay, would you do that for me?
Yes. Yes.
My question is about the program that you had, I think maybe 2 years ago, or maybe last year, about the license plate. The Illinois plates, remember there was a program?
Yes, so I'm glad you just brought that up. So October 1st also, we actually had, and it's still going on today. So 5 days a week, I have officers working overtime in the morning, 4 hours. They pick their shifts, whether it's 6 a.m., 8 a.m., they do 4 hours in the morning, and they're targeting Illinois plates, abandoned vehicles. We're trying to clear up the streets before the snow comes. I know in a 1 month period, probably have about 45, 50 totals of abandoned vehicles. So we've been doing that since October 1st. That one is real challenging. It is very challenging with these Illinois plates. We can tow them, they can get them right back. I can't just confiscate that vehicle. I can sticker it, I can tow it, doesn't mean they can't get it right back. And they do. A lot of them, they get towed, they get them right back. They're licensed drivers, they're insured, it just will not change those plates. So it's really a cat and mouse game with them a lot. Once they get it told once, they move the location. So we've been working on that since October 1st, not just in one place, but even just abandoned vehicles throughout the whole city. So what we do is all the complaints that come in during the day, any complaints that go to the ClickFix app, we assign it to that officer working that morning shift. So anyone that comes in overtime, we give it to them, they handle all the abandoned vehicles and those like this. Yes.
I want to thank you for coming. I think you're doing a good job. I know it's hard because nobody can predict crime. And I think people think that, you know, the police cannot be everywhere. And if people are not talking, that's part of the problem. People don't pick up the phone and call and say anything, but they want the police to be there at the time. I mean, you just can't predict crime. So that's one thing when people come up and say, you know, we had this, and this, but they didn't report it, they didn't call, or they didn't. And my second thing is that I would like to know if I can get a list of the bars in the city and things that have happened at the bar. But people have been coming up in this one particular bar and they're saying that things are happening at that bar. But I'm sure there's other things that's happening at other bars. We can start taking them down and take them all down. We're just not going to target one bar.
No, absolutely. And I will say, and I won't name the bars. We have investigations on 3 bars currently. Won't name them because what I did was we involved in a DPA on those 2 of the 3 bars. We did act on one this summer, but anytime we get those complaints, a lot of times I'm gonna refer it to excise, sometimes state police, and sometimes if it justifies it, we'll go ahead and notify the feds. So in those situations, I won't speak on, but all I can say is we definitely have investigation going on the bars. I can give you a list of the bars as well as the call logs. I have a problem with that. So every bar will have a call log, and I can put it on. That's not a problem.
And Chief, what are you doing to keep the patrol officers safe with this new law that everybody can have a gun?
So honestly, you know, we treat it like any other day. Anytime you're on a traffic stop, you're gonna still act as if, you know, somebody has a gun, whether they have one or not. You know, so we're right now doing training on active shooters. We just purchased and picked up rifles and SWAT and actual riot gear for every single SWAT car. So that'll be assigned to every officer. That training starts in December. We do have the luxury of Lake County SWAT team, but during a situation where something like that happens, where there's an active shooter or something serious happens, I want all the officers trained back and we not wait 45 minutes, you know, so everybody should be trained. So we purchased all the equipment. Now it's a matter of, before we issue it, is doing more training. So there's a lot more training going on. We just started with that last month, our training. That's one of them, traffic stops. So we just sent 2 of our officers to schools on felony stops so that they can train all our officers on these traffic stops. Because it is going to get more dangerous. Like I said, just by every traffic stop, there's a gun involved. And I mean, they're playing before they used to be hiding for us. Now they don't have this on their laps on the dashboard. It's just now the safety issue is more for the person with the gun, not us, because the same rules apply. You know, just because you have that gun, you know, you're the one that got to be careful, not us. We know how to act. You know how to act with that gun now that you can carry it. And most, I'll be honest with you, most of them don't. They don't. But my officers are being a little bit more cautious. We haven't had any incidents though. I give that such July. Besides the shots fired going up a little bit in the summer for 2 months, my officers haven't had any incidents yet with people with their guns. Like I said, just freely walking with them.
And lastly, I'd just like to commend you for honoring those students at the St. Stan's School, because I think that was important that you did that, because maybe now other students won't be scared to speak. I know that had to be difficult to figure that one out as far as the kids, but I think that it was so important because it even taught a lesson to the adults that should have spoke up before the kids spoke.
No, absolutely, thank you. And you know, and we did get permission from the parents. So we had to do first was get permission from the parents, and they agreed and honestly said the same thing. We wanted to inspire the other kids to speak out not just on teachers, but just to speak out in general when something bad happens. Those two kids were great, but their statements were awesome too. It was part of that.
Angela?
I didn't want to speak out of turn, but we've had a couple of people come in here recently, and I didn't want to speak out of turn for my council members here, but there's been some concern over landlords and keeping them accountable for their tenants. And how do we keep them accountable for their tenants? And I understand that there's some portion of the code that there's a requirement for, a permit for parking. Is that something that you guys enforce? Are you essentially shorthanded to enforce that perhaps? Is that actually something that's occurring? Because I want to keep the council members abreast of that situation. There's been concerns of landlords not being accountable for the tenants in their properties.
So the landlords are being held accountable. So I actually myself, Commander Curry, and now Commander Bush I've been here for 3 years now. By the ordinance, we have to label the apartment of nuisance, and that's based on call logs and the type of calls that are there. So once we get so many calls there, of nuisance calls, whether it's disturbances, shot fire, whatever case may be, if we deem it a nuisance, we actually first have to call the landlord. Normally, I would say 90% of the time when we call the landlord in, they evict the tenant within a month. And we've been doing it. I worked with code enforcement with Mr. Ventura on that. Over 3 years now. I stepped away. I was doing it for the last 3 years, but I stepped away because I have other responsibilities, but I gave it down to my commanders and they've been handling it. We just had one, again, I'm a goon in that area. The tenant was evicted in 7 days. So we do hold the landlord accountable. We give them an option, either handle it within the next 30 days by eviction or the call volume going down. If the call volume doesn't go down, we cite them. First citation is 2,500. The second citation is 7,500. The city's also taking action on a couple of places I'm doing where they actually sued the landlord going after her property. So we have been doing, as far as the parking permits, that's something they're gonna have to call on. And I'm gonna explain that one. At Central High School, there's resident parking open. So our license plate reader system will go out there. And we started citing. I got so many complaints. That's my daughter's car. That's my caretaker's car. That's my house nurse's car. Oh my God, that was the delivery guy's car. I don't know that. Once you call and say, hey, there's cars parked here, my officer's gonna cite it. They're gonna say, okay, let's come back to this block, you get a ticket. And it was that, it was home nurses that visited, it was family members that were visiting their elderly family. So there's a double-edged sword on that one. We can enforce it, but we're gonna start citing people. And most of the time we caught, we might catch one student. Maybe one teacher, I think we were last time. The other 10, 15 tickets were actually home nurses and family members visiting their families in the district.
So Chief, do you feel like if we were to, let's say we spread out that type of permit required resident only situation, do you feel like people aren't getting those permits and getting cited when they should properly be there more often than people that shouldn't be there?
I think the people that are gonna be cited are the ones that really shouldn't be there. It's not gonna be
And
the
they're just
resident.
not getting the permit.
Well, it's not that they're not getting the permits. It would be like, they don't live here, but they're families.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So those are the ones that are being cited. It would be the people's kids, it would be somebody visiting from college. Right now, say kids are on break from college. Now I go and enforce that and they're placing on registered to that house. So they are staying at their family's house. They're gonna be cited. Where else would they park? So it's one of the things, it'll work. I don't think it's gonna be too effective. I think more innocent people will be cited than the actual violators. So, but again, if you guys adopt that, we'll do our part. But that's something, once we issue tickets, it's not like the old days when I was able to take a ticket back. That person, unfortunately, is going to work because their tickets are immediately sent to the clerk's office. We're going to send them out. I don't believe in fixing tickets. I have them argue that in court so that there's no violation on my part saying that I was fixing the ticket. I just tell them, I'm sorry, explain yourself to court, come on a court date, and handle it that way, but I won't give it back.
Councilman Garcia?
Yeah, I know I talked to a couple of my colleagues on this. And this just refers to the old days, and there used to be a bar on every corner here in East Chicago in the harbor. And maybe we need to, I don't know, by legislation or not, what we can do is, once these bars sell, you know, we don't let them open back up, you know, once they sell the establishment. So that's what's ruining some of our neighborhoods, the neighborhood bars. And I feel that if that the alcohol commission, they come, the alcohol commission is not gonna do their job. We have one bar on Broadway that's been busted for drugs. That license don't need to, you know, there's nobody, you know, holding them accountable. And I think if you can research that, you know, once these establishments sell their license, okay, we don't let them open back up. Let them take that license wherever they want to go. You know, the neighborhood bars gotta stop, you know. I know, we stopped at one on 149th. We didn't let that one open back up. And that used to be a real bad place down there, you know, but we need to stop. We need to do our due diligence. If we can stop it, let's do what we can to stop the neighborhood bar. Once you act, the only way we can do it is once they sell that establishment, don't let them open back.
I'm gonna comment on that too. And I think the problem with that is just that people are coming in from Illinois and actually buying a couple of bars in our area. And, yeah, and places that deemed would be safe and just to go have a nightcap or whatever, they're not safe anymore. So,
And to talk on that, I think Euclid Tap has switched owners like 3 times in 2 years.
right,
And the one on Person Boulevard as well, GameStop, they switched a few times already. So that's all they're doing is just switching names. Once we're on them, name switching, and it's like it starts over. Now the call off starts over, the music starts over, but the people, the residents are still feeling the effect. The violence is still happening, the incidents are still happening, but unfortunately I can't do much more. I have to start over because it's a new owner. So, but that would be, like I said, we reported 2 bars already to excise. But that's as far as I can go. It's just reported. What happens at the board meeting is out of my control. All I can do is report it.
are there any more questions?
I just wanted to, if you can give me those reports too, and the log reports. And I want to thank you again, but I know that every time I give you a call, you always have answers for me. And I appreciate that, so do the residents. Thank you.
That's no problem. And you know what, there was one more thing with the UPS, but we did look into it as far as them dropping off and picking up people in the neighborhoods. The reason why 142nd Street was picked for the drop off was because it's kind of like out of the neighborhood, not parking in front of people's houses. So it's a side street by the hospital. The other thing was most of those people on those buses walk there. So they're actually city residents that are being shipped to their job in Illinois. So I know there were some complaints. They were saying there were disturbances or problems with bus stops. Zero calls. Nobody's calling the police on it. So then my officers have responded saying disturbances. Now they might be loud talking on the phone at 4 in the morning because it's weird hours. So UPS works weird hours. They might drop them off at 1 or 2 in the morning there and do a pickup at 5 in the morning. Yeah, they might be loud on their phone talking, but no officers are trying to take disturbances. But that location was picked on 142nd, so they can park by the park department, the hospital, on the opposite side of the street of the residents, so they're not actually taking resident parking. Another location is the police station. I cannot have them use like school or any property we don't know. So it has to be a public road where I can say that they can park there and we won't switch cars. So, but I did look into it. And there's a lot of residents that get on the buses. It's quite a few, most of them walk. So we're trying to convenience them and also look for a safer location. A lot of them are women. They felt safer on that side of town, by the hospital, by Washington Park, and by the police station.
Do you have some other question? Okay, can we research that ordinance again, because maybe there's some business passes or something that,
So you're talking about the
for
ordinance,
the
the
parking
code related to
I don't know if anybody that has a sticker at all. I don't think we can't give out any.
So we actually, East Chicago Municipal Code has a provision related to residential parking and getting passes for resident. We actually have it. It's in the code. I researched it for Councilman Monroe, asked me a couple weeks back to research that and see if we could expand that. The reason I asked Chief Rivera about that is unless we're enforcing that, unless we're asking people to do that and we're enforcing that, if you expanded that and we're not enforcing it, it's useless. It's just lip service. So unless, and this isn't any fault to the police department, unless they are enforcing that and making people abide by the residential permits and creating the permits and giving guest passes, unless that's being enforced, if we were to extend that to say some of the neighborhoods of the people that have come in complaining, which was kind of the purpose, right? We've had a couple of people that have come in and complained about purposeful neighborhoods. And we thought, hey, can we extend those residential permits to those neighborhoods? Unless that's being enforced, it's useless. So you can tell a landlord you can have one residential permit and one guest permit. But if they're not actually coming in, those people coming in and getting those permits and putting them in their windshields or hanging them from, I don't know if they're door tags or
We don't have,
window tags.
we don't have.
They're not. So we actually have the code, the East Chicago Municipal Code has those provisions, but it sounds like we don't do it.
We have our residential
Yeah,
parking
and the
signs.
sticks.
Right. So, and are we enforcing that?
No.
So this council can expand on that municipal code, but if we're not enforcing it, it's just lip service.
I think what I'm saying though, first of all, you gotta start by getting the sticker. And then if they get sick with, I mean, I don't know if talk to the mayor, maybe you could have one central location where people will come in, show their registration and their license and get the sticker and then put it in. And then they say, well, you know, my daughter's gonna be coming home from school if I can acquire a visitor's pass, so I got people coming in from town. We gotta try something because because there's been no stickers as I can remember.
Right, and I think one of the things that we need to do is talk to the mayor and have a neighborhood and start with a neighborhood.
Just one and see
See
how
the neighborhoods and see how it goes, you know, get all the quirks going or whatever and just do it that way.
And I have had conversations with the mayor's council, Joe Allegretti. I've roundtabled this with him. They are in agreement generally to work together to try to find a solution to those issues. It sounds like it's going to be a combined effort between this council and the mayor's people to work towards that resolution. My concern is probably the mayor's concern is inundating the police department with enforcement of that. And can we enforce it? And how do we enforce it? And so moving that residential permit, it's in there. It's already in there. I mean, it's in there. You have to have a permit to go on certain streets. People just aren't doing it, and we're not requiring it. We're not enforcing it. So if we're gonna hit that and get in front of it, then we need to enforce it as well. And so that's a problem. It certainly is.
Councilman Garcia.
Yeah. You know, around the Division in Chicago, Division Street, that neighborhood, Humboldt Park neighborhood, they do have, every time I visit my cousin, my aunt, they give me a visitor pass where they got to put my name, my place, and there's their information where they live. I got to put it in my badge. I know they do it. I don't know how they do it. Maybe that's the way we look into it, but it's like I said, like you said, I don't want to inundate the PD with short officers that lives already, and we want them in the streets, you know, so.
Well, then we need to go back to like the civilian, civil.
Policing, civilian
And
policing.
that would be their job. I'm not opposed to add that into the budget so that because we got to do something about that. The biggest complaint we get is about the Illinois place and the people. I know right now I go home tonight and you probably got 15 Illinois plates and I know they're not registered nowhere. And they don't create all the crime, but that's the perception that people figure that Illinois people are creating the problem. So, and I think that if you require them to have a thing, I don't think they'll be staying here too long.
That way, you know, they will.
And I think that'll circumvent the reciprocity. You know,
And if there's anything I've taken out of the past 6 months of the meetings of this council, is a general concern for safety of the citizens. And it sounds like every single person behind this wall is concerned about safety. And if we can come together to work on those rules in the municipal code and expect enforcement, there are things that you can do, and it sounds like you want to do those things. And it sounds like that's a general theme coming forward from this council in the past 6 months. Is how do we make it safer?
There you want to eat, because I mean, we need to get busy on that.
And everybody's ready to get busy on that. We just need to come together. Yep, okay.
I just like to thank you, Chief, for coming out tonight. Whenever we call, you're always there, and awesome job to me. And then also, I would like a report also, but can you include the gas stations? Because we have several gas stations that have a lot of shootings.
The last shooting was at the mobile, that was actually solved, that was I think about 45 guys. Actually, it was actually shooting / robbery. We also actually caught the guy with the gun. So he was caught and charged. That's probably one of the most busy gas stations.
That's Columbus Drive also, that other one.
Clark?
Yes, I am gonna call it out. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief Rivera.
No problem.
And if you can send everybody a copy of it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna send it to everybody.
Is there any other new business? Okay, we'll go on to public expression. First, Maria Cruz. Please state your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Maria Cruz, and I live at 4809 Oakland. And I'm here today because I received my bill for the water, and it's really, really high. Okay, I've been paid the last month, but this month is really high. And I went to pay, and they give me the excuse that they don't have nobody to check my water for last two years. So who is working on the water? Because see my bill.
Thank you.
And the excuse that they give me they don't make sense. They say that they don't have nobody to check for 2 years, and now they want me to pay in 6 months because Copeland say we can do the bill in 6 months, and you know I divide the water, you know the bill, and it's almost 300 a month. 1,750 $700
Per house.
yes. And I asked my neighbors if they had the same problem, and they told me, you know, I called one of my neighbors, and she said it was high, $33, and she said it was high. So I don't know if they want to fix this mistake, or I don't know, because it's too much.
Ms. Cruz, we usually don't have dialogue during, so after the council meeting, someone will come up to you and talk to you, but there's
No, I just went and they give me that dispute. It was charged for 2 years because they don't have nobody to read the meter.
Okay.
And it don't make sense. When we have snows, it's okay, but you know, it's already past the summer.
Okay, are you finished with your statement?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you. We're gonna hold on to that. The next is Rudy Velasco.
Hello, my name is Rudy Velasco, East Chicago resident. First of all, wish you all a happy Thanksgiving to your families, bless all of you. But I was here a couple of months ago talking about a water bill. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed at all. This young lady was paying $140 and went over there and told them that water bill was high, and then they changed it to 33. Now she gets a bill of $1,700. If you should investigate this water department, if they don't have enough people to do the job, then why are we paying the penalty for this? You have millions of dollars in the savings with the mayor always brags about. Why don't they do that as a stopgap until they solve that water department? I mean, you first hold off with our policemen, our firemen, not want to pay until the council came over here and did something about it. Now you have to do something about this water department. It should be investigated, because how long is that going to keep going on? It's just the beginning. I don't know if you realize in Detroit, that was one of the problems why they started going bankrupt. They had so many abandoned buildings and nobody even checked with the water. And that water was just flowing. You have code enforcement. That could be a check and balance for the water department. And when they told me they saw something wrong, but no one even bothered to come and check. Oh, we thought your house was abandoned. Now this young lady, you think she's gonna have a happy holidays? Right there, where she's gotta pay over $300 something a bill a month? How many other people is this gonna happen to? You do a great job, but you need to do better. You need to do better as a council. When something like this is affecting citizens and causing hardship, then we should be on it, more on it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Rosa Gonzalez. Please state your name and your address.
I'm Rosa Gonzalez, 511 Spring Street, Marktown District. Okay, my issue is right now, Riley Road, with the construction going on right now, on Dixie Road. I've lived in Marktown since 1978. One time my doctor called me and told me, I need you to get over here for this new medication. So I take Riley Road because of the trains. There was a train. It doesn't go nowhere. I was able to back up, get up on Dixie Road, get another train. Luckily, I made it in time for the post office. But if there's an emergency and you can't get past the train, for example, an ambulance came last night for one of my neighbors. What are we supposed to do? There's been a few times where I'm not stuck in between a couple of semi trucks. I'm able to speed out of there and just get up on County Avenue and go where I gotta go. If I have to go to Aldi's or Menards, I just go that way. Usually I try to go buy gas here across the street, because I try to buy my services in East Chicago because I live here. Or Whiting, that's where my pharmacy was, or the jewelry shop. And that's the main thing that people are calling me asking about. Also, they're asking about when is the Marktown Center going to open, because we recently had a meeting there. It was said that Marktown Center is going to open in 2 weeks. So I'm not aware if it's open yet or not, because the kids are on Thanksgiving break. So my nieces and nephews have been going there, so I don't know. So the residents are also complaining to me, the sign that says, I love East Chicago, and I just put up, it's not lit up. It's not it. I've called the right department here for Riley Road and Oak, that light's been out. Since they started lighting houses down. There used to be one pothole, they fixed it. Well, there's a double pothole now. And I was the lucky one to hit it. That ran me over $237 to repair. And the muffler was new. The part that messed up was holding them. So I have intention to come in tomorrow with the green light. But it's like this happens very often when we're stuck. we're always the ones stuck because we're isolated. So the notice I received on my cell phone was December 1st, they're gonna open up Dickey Road,
30 seconds.
they're gonna open Dickey Road on December 1st, but it looks like it's going to be only for business. It doesn't look like it's going to be for residents. Thank you for your time. For your help.
Yes.
I just wanted, there's been a couple of people that have come up over the course of the past 6 months about trains blocking roadways. And I just wanted, for public information, the Supreme Court of Indiana ruled sometime in 2018, there's federal regulations that we cannot overcome as a city. We cannot overcome those federal regulations. And as much as we hate them, and we think that they are unsafe, and I think every city and every town in Indiana has said this is unsafe, our hands have been tied as it relates to the railroads. And we have been federally stamped, if you will, that we are not to interfere with the quote unquote safe operation of trains. And sometimes that means over 10 minutes at a crossing. And there is nothing, and I will say this for the public, there is almost nothing, pretty much nothing that we can do about that. And we have tried, the state of Indiana has tried, many cities, many towns have tried, and the Supreme Court has said, you don't have control over the quote unquote safe operation of the railways. So I just thought that would be something for the public to know, because we've had a couple comments on that in the past 6 months.
Thank you. Councilwoman Warren, did you have something? No.
I mean, we try, I mean, even to the morning. And one of the conductors has told us that, if they can only be on that train so long, that once their time is up, they have to stop whatever they are. And give some, wait for somebody. Sometimes it takes 3 to 4 hours for somebody to come and relieve them. I've never seen her go mess like that, so.
Councilman Garcia.
Yeah, because I know we was able to find them before, but I think the state of
Can't do it now.
Indiana, the state of Indiana is the one that stopped that. Yeah, and I think it's really a democratic party up here.
So we actually, state of Indiana sued to enforce the fines, and the Supreme Court said we couldn't do that because we were federally preempted from bringing a lawsuit to enforce those fines because it interfered with the safe operation of trains. If you can interpret that better than I can.
Okay, do I have a motion for adjournment?
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Warren, second by Councilman Garcia.
Francis Key. Yes. Winfield,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Bolaño, Monroe.
Yep.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Routes you need. Get everything signed.
Thanksgiving. Happy holidays. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Good man. Yeah, yeah.
So.
Not like you take. Not gonna, I don't know.
Yeah,
Nor I don't do their Manila. Their Manila. Sure. It is? Oh, my goodness.
Here.
Yeah, but he did about.
Problem is.
Not that much.
Hey, don't get it, take that Lily.
Yes, I'm gonna text her right now.
You going here?
That'd be different.